Rhetoric is one of humanity's oldest skills and one of its most controversial. It is, at its heart, the art of persuasion, the ability to move others through language to belief and to action. Rhetoric is everywhere, in the courtroom, in the pulpit, and in the marketplace. It fills the posters on the corners of your street, and it breathes through the slogans that echo through your mind long after you've stopped listening. It does not consist simply in fancy words, in ordinary ideas, decked out in finery. Rather, it is the pulse that transforms intention into action. The ancients knew this. Aristotle described rhetoric as the faculty of observing, in any given case, the available means of persuasion. He broke persuasion down into three modes. Logos, the appeal to reason. Ethos, the appeal to character or the credibility of the speaker. And pathos, the stirring of the audience's emotions. Logos, ethos, and pathos. Logic, credibility, emotion. Three strands woven into one rope, strong enough to pull along a crowd. But not everyone trusted rhetoric. Plato feared that it could be wielded to deceive, that eloquence might triumph over truth. To him, rhetoric was a dangerous tool, capable of seducing the mind while bypassing reason. He saw how beautiful words could sparkle and conceal, how persuasion might flatter the ear while starving the soul. To him, rhetoric was dangerous music, but to the sophists, it was their livelihood. To us, it must be both. For rhetoric is not a relic. It breathes still. This suspicion of rhetoric has never gone away. It surfaces whenever we call someone just a politician, or dismiss an argument as mere rhetoric. Yet, rhetoric is unavoidable. Even the attempt to reject it, to speak plainly or scientifically, or with brutal honesty, is itself a rhetorical stance. Language always frames, always colors, always carries power. And we must not forget, rhetoric has evolved through history. The Romans treated it as the core of education, training young men in oratory as preparation for public life. During the Renaissance, rhetoric was tied to humanism and the revival of classical learning. In modern times, its scope has broadened to include advertising, journalism, and digital media. It is no longer confined to speeches. It shapes the headlines we read, the images we share, the brands we buy, and the ads we remember. Some thinkers even argue that rhetoric does not simply persuade within a shared reality. It actively shapes reality. The way we describe a problem changes how we think about it. Call something a war, and it invites militaristic solutions. Call it a journey, and it suggests patience and wonder. Language directs perception, and perception directs action. An opportunity and a problem are starkly different ways of framing a situation, but that situation may nonetheless be identical. So rhetoric becomes in the hands of Homo mythologus, both tool and terrain. It is what we use to persuade, and it is the space in which that persuasion occurs. It can be manipulative, but it can also be liberating. It can deceive, but it can also inspire, clarify, and unite. To understand rhetoric, then, is not just to learn how to persuade. It is to learn to appreciate the ways in which stories already surround us. It is to recognize how words guide us, for better or for worse, in the collective project of shaping what we believe to be real. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The veil lifts, and the world reveals itself, not as raw fact, but as stories in contest, persuasions in orbit, voices pulling us toward different truths. The question is not, therefore, whether you will use rhetoric, since you cannot possibly fail to do so. The question is whether you will wield it blindly or consciously, because rhetoric, like fire, can create illumination, or it can consume the order which exists. In every word we speak, the same ambivalent spark is waiting for intention to awaken it. So, what do you intend?